everybody, welcome back. Today, what we're going to take a look at is the inventory system and the personal assets and how they function. We're also going to see what we've been doing in the meantime. I've been going through and we have been completing things. Looks like we've got a capacitor management level 4 done now, and obviously we've completed industry level 3. Spaceship command level 4, I believe, and skill training is completed as well in warp operation level 3. So our skills have been progressing. So let's take a real quick look over here at our skills, our skill tree. We won't spend too much time here. And currently we're working on our power grid management level 5. We still have 73 days to complete this, so it's no big rush to get in here and get this stuff done. Although these drone skills are definitely worth wanting to burn through as quick as possible. We need to get our primary power core, our CPU, and various upgrade stuff done for our hull and whatnot before we can actually start to get into anything of any real significance. So we made some progress there, which is a good thing. What else we got going on? Let's take a look at our inventory system. So our inventory system, first thing we find at the top of our inventory over here on the left is whatever you are currently sitting in the dock. So in this instance, I am sitting in my pod, as you can see. So that would show up here. Everything that is in the ship hangar is located down here. So if I wanted to get into my rookie ship, I would right click. I would then go down here to make active. It'll then switch this, and you can now see that I'm currently in this ship. So let's leave this again. And this is something I didn't know when I first started playing this game. If you click leave ship, it doesn't abandon it and you don't blow up. Basically, you just leave the ship you're in and it automatically kicks you back to your pod. They kind of did a cruel thing to me one time when they said, yeah, just click it, see what happens. You'll blow up, right? So, no, it doesn't blow you up. You just go back to your pod and you're sitting inside your hangar. Now, so you have all of your ships that you will have purchased or have built listed over here that you can use after you assemble them, and preferably insure them before you go into space. And then you just click them to use them, and that's all listed here under hangar. Ship hangar, real easy. Item hangar, we covered this one in the last episode. If you haven't checked that out, you might want to check out the previous video, which goes into a little more detail on all of the stuff which is located in the item hangar and the primary station control area, which is over here on the right. We didn't do anything pertaining to this Plex Vault, which is kind of interesting. You can sell Plex for ISK, so if you have Plex, which is the in-game currency, or actually a pilot extension license, you purchase them. Each Plex is worth, at current market prices, about 5 million ISK. You can sell those if you have them for ISK, puts them on the market. You can purchase additional game time right here. Looks like they may be running a sale. I'm not entirely sure. Usually it's 500 for 1 month of game time. If you can afford it, I definitely recommend going with something like the 3-month option. In the end, you end up saving a little bit of money if you're going to be playing, and this is a long-term game. So the longer you can stretch that out, the more money you end up saving, but you have a higher upfront price. And I know in this day and age, things are a bit stretched, so I try to go for a 3-day or 3-month plan if I can at all afford it. We have here, you can buy an extra skill cube. Now, if you go back to your primary screen, you'll have the 3 character slots that pop up at the very beginning. So let me go. I wonder if I can. Right here. So this is currently our characters. We have one here. We have 2 empty slots that are available because we can have a total of 3 characters altogether. Now all of these characters are basically on the same account, which means you can't fly them independently. If you have 2 separate accounts, you can, and they are an Omega and an Alpha, you can fly 2 different accounts at the same time. If they're all Omega accounts, which is paid, you can have all of them up and out and doing stuff. That's how you get some of these massive one-man fleets. So yeah, so what the increased skill queue does, it lets you, because you can only train one particular character at a time, unless you have additional skill queue. So you purchase the skill queue, and it allows you to train 2 or 3 characters at a time, depending upon what it is you purchase in that particular well, purchase. It's a purchase. You go to the store, essentially is what it is. And as soon as it loads back up, which should be a second here, I will take you back in there, but I wanted to show you exactly what it was that was going on, so that you'd have an understanding precisely of what I was talking about. If I go too quick at any point in time, feel free to leave a comment down below, and I will try to slow down or answer any questions that you might have, and just about whatever I can cover in the game. So let's look at the extra skill queue. If I click here, we go to the New Eden store. It'll open it up, and as you can see, first thing they show here is a starter pack. 2,145 plex, which is quite expensive when you multiply that by 5 million. That's in-game ISK value. Now, you get an additional slot, which means you have your primary slot that you can use, and then you could use a secondary character, so you'd have 2 characters here for 350 plex, 800, 3 characters, 6, 12, and 24. And yes, there are people who have more than that, which is quite impressive. I know I've seen some of these large individual mining fleets out there, and they can do some pretty impressive mining. So that's the store as far as that goes. But let's take a look real quick over here, because you can also purchase ship skins, and some of these are pretty cool. Once again, you're paying plex for these, so they're kind of costly, but it lets you put these skins on your ships. And that's just like we covered in another one of the videos that we already covered. You go back and you just, well, actually now you just got to mouse over it once you get it, and then you can activate the license that way. And then you can go to the personalization under the fitting menu, and you can select that particular skin, which would then equip it like this. Pretty cool stuff, actually. You can also purchase apparel for your character. So say for instance you wanted to have a cybernetic arm. 100 plex will purchase you a cybernetic arm for your character in the portraits. Some of this may be a bit more of use if any of this transfers over into the new Vanguard expansion. Vanguard is the first-person shooter that Eve's adding on. They just ran a 3 or 4 day test that they put out for that, and I was unable to get to it. I didn't have enough time, and my computer didn't like it, so I couldn't do it, which is unfortunate. But if some of these transfer over to what your character's wearing, that would be really neat, because then you'd be able to actually see it more often, and you'd have a character which you can customize. So that would be a possibility. I don't know that that's going to happen, but it would definitely be a cool thing. We have services that are available. So we have different bundles you can purchase. And what's in these anyway? Oh, skill points. So you purchase 1.75 million SP standard boost cerebral accelerator, and +4 to all attributes for 4 days, and that's pretty expensive, but it's actually kind of worth it if you're going to be powering through your leveling for some of your skills. We have game time that you can purchase. 1 month, 500. I told you it was 500. We have 3 months, 1200, etc. 21, 36, 20, and 6600 for up to 2 years. I have never purchased this. I have purchased this on a couple of occasions. I thought it was worth it, but then again, I've been playing this game for a very long time, since about 2009. And I still don't know everything about it, so don't feel bad if you don't know. Just take your time. Don't forget to breathe. Always breathe. And don't let the emergency alarm systems on the ship drive you into some kind of panic attack, because that can happen all too often. So that's what is in the Plex Vault, the item hanger. Basically, it's pretty simple. Your current ship, the ships you have, items in your item hanger, right there, and then your Plex Vault. So we're done with that for now. Let's take a look now at this right here, because I already clicked it. Personal assets, or Alt-T. Now, what are we doing here? We're taking a look at... I'm not going to have a whole lot here because this is a new character. This is all of your assets that you currently have in stations located throughout the entirety of New Eden or the universe. Basically, if you wanted to, if you had another ship in another system, it would show that you have, like, the next system over would be located in another line, and then you would be able to drop it down. It would show you what it was in that particular station, or you could search for it by using the search feature, which is right here. You simply enter whatever's in there, and you type in catalyst, so C-A-T. It's going to pop up catalyst here anyway. You type it in there, so yeah. See? So it shows me that I have a catalyst skin for 180 days, and I have this particular ship in this particular station. Except if you had more than one catalyst in different stations, it would show you what station you have it in, which system you have it in, and all you need to do is set a course to go pick it up. So you would just simply set destination, and then you'd be able to fly there and do that. You can set it as a home station by simply clicking on whatever station you're currently in. You can also access that up here in the system. Should be a means of doing that up here. Set destination. There's another way to do that. I can't remember how to do it right off the top of my head, but I know it's up here. And I think this is, yeah, set home station. So basically what you do is you go to your system, it's located up here, and then you go down to the station that you want to go to, set to your home station, right click it, and then go to home station. And then basically that will peg that as your home base. Kind of handy. It always shows up as a little blue house on the map, which we showed you in a previous video, which you should go back and check out. So that's how that functions right here. Basically it's just a complete inventory list of everything that you have for that. And then there's asset safety. Asset safety only really applies to character-owned structures like stations. What'll happen is if you have stuff in a station and that station is attacked and that station is blown up, it will take all of the items in that station which is owned by that player character, and it will transfer to the closest low-sec system. I believe it's low-sec, yeah, closest low-sec system, and boom. Of course, I'm used to being in null-sec, so it might be a little bit different in high-sec. But if you want to find out where those asset safety things are, you just simply go to your personal assets, and you click on asset safety, and it'll be a list right here. And then once again, you just can right click to fly to, and then you fly there, figure out what it is. There is a fee involved when you're taking things out of asset safety, and I think it's, I don't know the exact percentage, I think it's 10-15% of the total value. So if you have ships worth billions, it can be quite expensive in order to get them out. So that's definitely worth knowing. Search text. You can sort. You can sort by what's where and the number of jumps. You can also do it by the number of items in each individual station. So if you wanted to know where you have most of your stuff, you click the search by number of items, and bam, you're right there at the top. And you don't have to go hunting and clicking on each of these individually, breaking them down, you know, trying to figure out what's what. And that's basically that. I mean, you have the idea that this is the quantity, the group is what individual group of whatever it would be located. Like, for instance, this is a commodity. So each individual item has a specific tag associated with it, like ore. If you had an ore type, it would be listed under the group. It helps if you can click on the group setting. You can organize it by group. So now you see I've got liked group skins together, ships, headwear, and whatnot. I prefer name because I like doing things the hard way. And that is that. So let's see what we're doing, because we had, as you recall, in our previous video, we had placed a market order. I don't know how that's faring, so let's take a look at finance. And all I did was click up here, go to finance, go to market orders, click market orders, and we have sold out. So our order actually sold, which is nice. To find out exactly how much we made, we click over here on the wallet and market transactions. Yes, we have a client who bought it, the amount that they bought it for. Yeah, so we made a little bit more money than we would have, even though we still got kind of, well, you know, it's the market. You know how markets work. Everybody's looking to undercut everybody else and do the best deal they can for them. That's the way that works. But yeah, we sold it, so that's awesome. We have more money now. Legacy points, E-marks. I haven't had much chance to deal with these. This is a relatively new thing. At least for me anyway, because I don't usually deal with them. So you visit any Paragon station and access the loyalty point store in the station, and you can see what they have to purchase. So basically it's like a specialty store, and as you complete missions you gain these Eve marks. It lets you purchase cool things. So it's kind of like this, only it's probably a slightly different mechanic as far as how you earn them. And that's it really for those two particular things. So we covered the market, we got that. Project Discovery is kind of interesting, but we'll cover that a little bit later. That's an actual real world research project. You go into here, and it used to be that you would match things to try and determine what it is, and all that as actual research that goes to help the whatever scientific organization is doing the research, and then they use that and they compile it and do actual scientific research with it, which is kind of an interesting little dynamic within the game. I should actually do a thing on that later. Well, this is fun. Okay, we'll close this down. Let's get back into our ship. Put that back where it's supposed to be. Or at least for me. Alright. Get back into our ship. Let's go back and we will go into space. We have our local system, which appears to be okay. There's no blinking reds or pirates or anybody who's flagged in system. Everybody appears to be gray and neutral, and they're really close to me. So let's do this. We are going to come out this station, and the first thing we're going to do is hit our afterburner. If it'll let me. There we go. So I am having graphics lag. Yay! Okay, there we go. So what we would normally do, or what I normally do, is set up a safe warp out. So say there were these people that were right there. They were 15 kilometers and 4,000 meters away from me, which is pretty much within targetable range. They could have locked me when I came out of the station, and they could have blown me up. So I don't want to do that, because nobody wants to die, right? So you warp off into space. 300, I'd like to go about 300 kilometers out. And you set up a bookmark. We are currently 6,000 meters away, and I am not going to force you to do this, but basically that's all I did. You undock. As soon as you come undocked, you hit the warp afterburner. You start burning off into space. Get about 250, 300 kilometers out. You create a bookmark. Once again, we covered this before, but basically you just hold down the button, plus, you use a little thumbtack, saves location, and that creates your bookmark. It'll have a little bit of information for you to fill in what you want to name it. And then you can always go back in and edit it later. So we try a little bit. We could do some mining. Let's try an anomaly. Some of these are pretty rough. That might just kill me. So let's go within 50 kilometers of there. This is our station. We're going to leave the station and set it as our destination in case we need to warp back. Now we're going to do a little bit of combat, which is kind of interesting. For that, I'm going to drop this. I'm going to minimize that. And even this, so we can get a little bit better look at what's going on here. And we are landing on grid. Looks like we currently only have one Elvis. Or Elvi. LV? Alright, so we will approach the ship. Just turn on our afterburner. Oh, he's locking me. I feel so loved. He wants to hug me with his guns. Okay, so if we keep doing on our current trajectory, doing just the approach, we're going to ram right into him. He's going to buzz past us, then we're going to turn around and it'll automatically try and keep him at an approach. It'll constantly try and keep up with him. However, what we want to do is orbit. And we can pick where we want to orbit at. I want to orbit at about 2,500. So this will be my orbit around that ship. This is our miner. This is our Gatling gun. And that is the person we want to explode. And This could be pretty close. Yes, pretty even match. Keep in mind, this is a absolute rookie ship, fresh out of the box, no modifications. Let's zoom out a little, see what's going on here. Now these buttons down here, we are pretty much... See if I can get inside of his guns. Drop it down to 1,000. What I did is decrease the orbit, so I'm getting closer to him, hoping to get inside of his gun range so he can't track me as well. Oh, snap. He's gonna win. At this rate. Best thing you can do in a case like this, warp out. Ooh, look at the scary sound. Still shooting at him, but I am warping out of here. Never be afraid to run away from a fight. Simply put, I didn't have the machinery that I needed in order to take on that particular combat, but that gives you a basic understanding of how combat works. You approach, or you can manually click in space in order to get around things. And all you need to do in order to fly in a particular direction, as soon as I land here, I'll show you how that works. As you can see, my shields are slowly starting to pop up here. And if this was a player-owned structure, usually they have tethers, which will come out, they'll lock onto you. Basically, it makes you unattackable as long as you don't attack someone and you don't have a flag. And then it'll sometimes heal you if they have that particular module equipped on their ship, which is kind of cool because that's nice. Instantly, if we dock, you'll see what happens is our ship shields are automatically and fully healed. Because all it is basically is energy. Electromagnetic force field or something like that. Never did explain how that works exactly for the power core either. I just found out about that about a year ago. So here we are. We don't need to repair because we only took shield damage. Shield damage is nothing really. Armor, we repair. Structure, we repair. So we did that. Don't have the guns to do it yet. Can't afford a ship to go into deep combat. So let's just try and make some more money by going to Asteroid Belt 1. So right click in space. Oh wait. Actually, show you what I'm talking about for direction. When I was talking about being able to fly manually, you just find where you want to go. Say I want to go back over this way. Double click and your ship will change course. If I wanted to go just here, I click there, it changes. That's it. You can manually fly around these ships as well by just clicking in space. So it's pretty easy. And then if you wanted to fly around them, you just like the station, orbit, choose what you want to orbit at. If I wanted to orbit at 30K, now it'll establish orbit at 30K around the station, which is going to be a lot farther out than, yeah, that big blue circle. And that station is absolutely massive, so this orbit is actually quite huge. But yeah, let's go do some mining. Okay, right click, asteroid, find the belt you want to go into. You can warp to 0, which you recall from our previous video, takes you to the center point of where they have established that belt to be, which we don't want to do necessarily. So you can warp within 10, 20, 30, up to 100, or you can set a default. Now, I just normally warp to 0 on the first time I go into a belt, and then I'll establish a bookmark, and I'll show you how to do that when we get there, because that's kind of a handy little thing to know. I keep telling you about it, but you haven't actually seen it. I know there's a lot going on, there's a lot to learn, and I'm throwing it at you, even though I'm trying to go slow, pretty quickly. And there is absolutely no shame in not knowing something. If you have any problems at all, there are chat. Okay, there's nobody in this system, or in this belt. Okay, if we click to mining, you'll see something cool. Should be able to zoom out, and there are no rocks in this belt. Okay. Oh, nope, they're right there. You can now see where all the rocks are in the belt. If you just don't click this, you can't see that. I like this. Now, that is concentrated feldspar. We want to find dense first, because dense has the highest yield when you reprocess. And it usually sells for more. So there's a dense rock. We will approach 26 kilometers away. And when we get there, we'll set up a bookmark. I think we should be able to lock it right now. So if we control and click that asteroid, that locks it in place. Now I can only start mining once I get within 10 kilometers for this particular miner. Currently at 15. And let's start mining. Let's hit the brakes by hitting the stop, minus button down here. You see we're starting to decelerate, coming into orbit. Now, I would much rather prefer to be on the opposite side of this belt. So I want to fly over that rock. We'll double click and space above it. Just throw in some speed by clicking on the afterburner. Somebody sent us mail. We're loved. Let's click stop, because we're now on the other side. Were we alone? Or was somebody here? No, somebody just sent me mail. So this is currently mining that particular rock. While we're doing that, let's find out what this person wanted. Upgrade to an Omega clone. Yeah, that would be nice, and that is the goal. Either to be able to afford to in-game plex an Omega account, or get to the point where we're going to have to start purchasing an Omega for a particular character. And more than likely it'll be if you want to actually have more fun playing the game, you're going to want to purchase an Omega. Otherwise what happens is it becomes more like a job and less like a game, and this is a game and the purpose is to have fun. So we're still mining. Right now we have 6.5 meters cubed, 75 meters cubed in our hole. Hold. Not our hole. It just derailed my entire thought train. Oh, we were going to do a bookmark. So we are where we want to be in a belt right now. We're not aligned like we should be. So let's click here and we click align. That'll turn our ship and align it towards the station we want to dock at in case somebody pops in. Hit stop. Make sure we're within 10 kilometers for this. Yep, we're about half that distance. And we are now almost full, but we are aligned out properly. and close to the rock we want to keep mining. So what we do is we click this, hold it down, go to that little pin, push pin looking thing, and then we can set up our label. What are we going to call it? We're going to call it dense beld. Alright. If we choose the option to store it in whatever folder we want, we only currently have our default folder because we haven't set up any others. It will store it in our general bookmarks. It will be deleted only if you choose the options to do it in 2 days or 3 days. Otherwise, if you have never checked, it will always be there. So in 2 days, I want this to expire because it's probably going to be gone in less than an hour. We will then submit. And then what we have is a bookmark in space. You see this little thing says dense beld. And I can look at my ship. We currently have our stuff, so let's dock up and I can show you how that functions as well. So we'll go back, drop off our ore.
Warp drive active.
And then I'll show you how to access the bookmarks real quick. This is the astronomical units in kilometers distant, how far that is away. Oh yeah, I was going to explain this too. This is the capacitor. That's your ability of your ship in order to gain access to energy. And if you have a person with like a Nosferatu unit, what will happen is they will drain your capacitor and you won't be able to use your ship's offensive or defensive weaponry. In some instances, there are some things that are pretty much immune to it, but it'll drain your capacitor. And how these ships power themselves is they don't actually use a fuel source. They actually puncture a hole into hyperspace and basically picture it like a giant funnel. So you have an energy core with a specific energy output. It's like the size of the funnel. So they pop the hole into hyperspace, and if you have a bigger ship with a larger capacitor, that funnel is larger, which allows your capacitor to be bigger. Basically, that's how that works. It tethers you to hyperspace. So it's pretty much an endless supply of energy. So we have this here. We have our item hangar, and in our item hangar is nothing at current because it's all up here in our ship. We regular click this and we drag it down to our item hangar. From here we could just sell it like bulk, but we don't want to do that yet since we transferred it off of our ship and we have it currently sitting in the station right there. Let's undock again and go back into space, and I can show you how the bookmark system basically functions. So we've exited the station. We have a bookmark, so you right click in space, go down to locations, and you can see that there's a default bookmark location. You can choose the warp to within up to 100 kilometers. You can align to, and it will align to that particular bookmark. But let's warp to 0. So we're warping in right on top or within a few meters of where we need to be. It'll fly right up past that rock belt. And keep in mind that at any point in time right now I could be blown apart by another player. So here's my bookmark, and it is outside of this belt, which should not be far from my dense feldspar or veldspar. Yep, concentrated. Is this the dense one? Yep, that's the dense one. So then what we do is basically just relock this, and then we go back into our cycle by simply clicking on the mining laser in this particular case. Civilian miner. You have miner 1s and miner 2s, which are actually bigger versions of this, which get better yield and mine quicker. So since we're sitting here, we should be aligning. It's a good habit to get into, even I forget to do it. So go here, started to align, hit stop. The likelihood that anybody is going to come out here and blow up my rookie ship for my few pathetic meters cubed of ore is highly unlikely, especially since we're in high security space, and Concord will show up and blow them up as a punishment for attacking me. So as you can see, it starts to slowly fill up our ore hold. Well, actually, this isn't an ore hold, this is just our basic ship hold. Ore holds are specialized to specific types of ships, like ore miners, excavators. You have excavators. Come on. Ship tree, where are you? Alright, so I'm in space mining and not paying attention. Horrible idea. But here we have the ore ships. So barges. Barges and exhumers. Barges are like the lower tier of exhumer. Higher you go up this tier, the better they do at taking out ore, extracting things, and getting benefits. The goal for most people starting out is to get into a barge, either a, well, I would say probably, well, procure if you want to have any kind of tank at all. If you want to have more space for storing ore, retriever, but you can have really crummy tank on a retriever. And these ships can be kind of expensive, so I would say try to first train into this particular ship. The procurer gives you a 6% bonus to shield hit points, 2% to a strip miner yield, minus 2% to ice harvester and gas harvesters. And what that does is it decreases the cycle time. It doesn't actually go by volume. It goes by, you get a set amount every cycle. So this decreases the amount of that cycle time by 2%. You get a 50% bonus to drone damage and hit points, which is also nice. But yeah, if you want to find out exactly how skilled you are in any of these ships, what's required, ship requirements. These are the skills that you have to have in order to fly this ship. You can purchase any of these skill books. Well, you can purchase them here, obviously. But this requires Omega state, as you can see, in order to get. So before you can go to a barge, you're going to have to get to Omega. So this is a goal. If you want to find out how good you are at a particular thing, you can find out the core skills that are required in order to train. I have all of these checked, so I've got the basic core. I do not have these skills under drone, and so on and so forth. And that goes from 1. This is only level 1. It goes up here to level 5. And apparently, if I was to get all the skills and all the training, I am 1,409 days, 19 hours, 59 minutes, and 16 seconds away from getting Mastery Level 5 in the Procurer. Seems insurmountable, doesn't it? It's not. It just, you have to train yourself, because in our society today, everything is instantaneous, gotta have it right now, gratification. And I'm sitting in a belt, and there's somebody in the belt with me, and I am a sitting target. See, this is how people die. What happens here, this individual, a measly 40 away from me, could have come in with his ship, snuck up on me while I was looking at my screens, and blown me completely out of space. He's an adventure though, so let's go take a look at it. We right click, and actually I want to keep it range 2500. What that'll do is take us in, keep us 2500 meters from them. We have a bit of a distance to go, so let's kick in our afterburner. And there's a possibility he might think I'm a threat, but I doubt it very much. Hi, Gear. How you doing? You don't know me, but I'm doing absolutely everything suspicious. I can't blame him if he runs away. What I really want to do is take a look at his ship so that I can show you what that looks like, because Venture is our first stop along the line in progression to get to the Procurer. So the ship that we're gunning for right now is to get out of this so that we can get into a Venture, because Venture has a higher mining yield, it has better mining lasers, better defensive systems. Basically, it's an overall better ship. It's a really nice ship, actually. It's kind of cute, too. Looks like, it reminds me of Bumblebee from the Transformer movies, if it was a spaceship. Turn off the booster. Let's take a look at him. You can see how I can kind of get that. It's yellow and looks kind of like a robot. And as you see, it has the ability to fire 2 different mining lasers at the same time. Plus, it looks like it has an additional gun. Show info. That's... I don't want to look at that. Let's shoot a picture of the ship. So this is what we need to do to get into level 1 of this particular. I do not have these skills yet. Do I? Yes, I do. I'm missing this skill. Shield tanking. 17-minute train, really? Shield operation? Missing something here? No? Shield operation. So, looks like we might be able to get into this ship if I just did shield operation. He's probably wondering. I think it's a he. Why I'm sitting here looking at him blankly. It's like that strange person walks up to you and starts staring at you for no reason. Hi, how you doing? Let's go into our skills real quick. Shield operation. So shield operation. Do we have any in train? Shield management. Shields. Click this. Buy and inject. So we purchased this book. We now have shield operation. I am going to take shield operation, which should be here, and I am going to drag it to the top of the queue. So in 16 minutes, we should have the bare bones minimum, if I did all of my looking correctly, to fly that ship. Which would be kind of a cool thing. And then we can go through some of the stuff in our next episode on how to another venture. Okay, this place is getting a little too hopping for me. Let's close this and warp out of here.
Warp drive active.
Anonymous. That's never a good thing. Oh, they want to talk to me. Let's see what we're talking about. Let me accept their invitation. Where are my communications? Corporation. What? Don't want to talk to me anymore?
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
Okay, let's see what's going on. They wanted to talk to me about something, probably wondering why I was sitting there in front of them. So let's invite to start conversation. And how I got there, we found their name. Right click. Then it gives us these options here. Start conversation, invite to start conversation. You can send them mail. You can capture their portrait, or you can form a fleet with them. I want to invite them to start a conversation. Let's see what they wanted. Yes. What's... Now, whether or not they reply, meanwhile, while I'm waiting for them to talk, we can take the ore that we have in our ship and we can drag this down into the item hangar. Now, we had pretty good luck last time selling something. So let's stack all of this. We have 2,700 dense Veldspar. I told you. Didn't I tell you? Right here. Now, you were just sitting behind me staring at me. I was just confused. Okay. You're being used as a... about ship progression. I'll read this to you when I get done here. Alright, so what I said is you were being used as a target in our newest EVE Online video about ship progression and how the Venture was the next stop on our voyage. Oh, looks like they left. And they do that too. So what we can do here, copy this. Copy. Copy that. Okay. So, remember how I told you can send people mail? Right-click their name. Send them a message. Enter subject. Stalking. Thank you for the help. You rock. Well. Well, at least you mind them. Alright. And then you click send. This is already ended, so then in order to close this, you just simply click the close button. This is closed. We then go here. I bet you they'll send a message probably in local chat, which I don't have open. I usually should have that open. Like I said, I closed that. So it closes. So they probably might say something here. Maybe. Or they'll send a mail back. But either way. Alright. So we're going to go real quick into here. We have our dense Veldspar. Some of these names I went to school for geology briefly. quite a while ago, and I can't keep track of all of these geology terms. So let's go with a sell item. So you right click it and then you choose from the menu sell item. If we were to sell this immediately, we came down to this drop down menu, select immediate. We could sell it right now for 22 grand. Actually, that's not horrible. 8% under. Let's just take that, even though it is a complete ripoff. Alright, so we're 22 grand richer for our mining. So we're getting closer, and this is going to help later on when we start to get into our venture. But we'll cover that in the next video. Make sure to go back, watch some of these videos. If you have any comments or suggestions, feel free to drop them down below. I appreciate you stopping by. I know everybody who's watching, around here at least, appreciates you watching as well. So I will say, if I don't see you now, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and fly wild.